WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Good evening, I'm Tommy Lopez. We're starting with the discussion of community policing in Columbus tonight. It's the final meeting tonight. It's with the consultant the city hired, Dr. K.B. Turner. He met with people from Ward 4 tonight, so people were able to voice their concerns again about the Columbus Police Department. Turner emphasized community involvement. And there is our own Andrea Self, the moderator tonight. Turner says he wants people to get re-energized in neighborhood watch programs.
Given that there were in fact a diversity of concerns, I now will go back and look at some of the questionnaires that citizens completed and try to discern any patterns or trends.
Turner also says he'd like to see more youth programs, and he wants to see people send suggestions to the Department of Recreation. The Starkville-Oktibbeha Consolidated School District has named its new superintendent. It's a unanimous vote tonight. Trustees chose Dr. Eddie Peasant. He'll replace the retiring Lewis Holloway. Peasant is currently serving as an assistant superintendent in the Tupelo School District. He's been a principal in Clinton and Gulfport, and he's a former state administrator of the year. Peasant's first day on the job will be July 1st. Well, it was looking like the Okolona School District would not be in this state consolidation planning for the Chickasaw County as a whole. Lawmakers, though, included in a bill today that passes out of a House committee. It's amending a Senate bill to include Okolona schools in this. The original version of this bill only included Houston and Hulka, the Chickasaw County School District. Representative Toby Barker of Hattiesburg says Okolona's small enrollments and poor academic performance is what makes it prime for consolidation. If passed, all these school districts, all three of them, would merge their administrative offices. That would be by 2020. It would not affect or change any individual schools. Okolona has threatened to ask, though, the U.S. Department of Justice to block any merger based on a desegregation order. All three districts oppose the consolidation bill. To our weather tonight, Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson is in with us. Keith, a warm night tonight.
Tommy, it's downright balmy out there. All quiet here, Columbus and Tupelo, our Alpha Insurance camera network. Hopefully you have enjoyed the evening. Look at these temperatures right now here across our region. We are still smack dab in the upper 60s and low 70s at 10 o'clock at night. Now, some big-time storms have been erupting just to our northwest. You can see there the storms here in northwest Tennessee, parts of Missouri, Illinois. These storms are going to be to our northwest tonight. The greatest severe weather threat and tornado threat well off to our northwest. But there will be a chance for some strong storms tomorrow, Tommy. We're in the mid-70s. More on that threat and plus a look ahead at a nice weekend in just a few minutes.
A North Mississippi man pleaded guilty today to planning for someone to murder his wife. He got a 15-year prison sentence for this. It's a conspiracy to commit murder charge in Tupelo. Derek Graves will also get an additional 15 years suspended. Investigators say he hired a Lee County man to shoot and kill his wife. Graves got the murder weapon himself and helped plan the shooting. District Attorney John Weddle says the man Graves hired contacted law enforcement with information. Domestic violence will not become one of the grounds for divorce in Mississippi. A bill that would have added it died in committee today. It's one of the deadlines for lawmakers today in Jackson. Republican Annie Gibson is the chairman of this committee. Some lawmakers in opposition to the bill have said that they want the state to encourage married couples to stay together. Many supporters of the measure say the state has outdated laws that put low-income people at a disadvantage, particularly victims of domestic violence. Mississippi's divorce rate consistently ranks near the highest in America. It's a deadline day today at the Capitol. General bills had to get out of the second chamber's committees by tonight. A recent study says Mississippi ranks behind all or most of all of the other states in categories regarding women. Percentage of women in poverty, life expectancy for women, and also unemployment for women, among some other categories. Our Victoria Bailey has a reaction from our area today on this Wallet Hub study.
I would really like to see change, especially in, my state.
Since 1848, women have been fighting for equality in the United States, and MUW Professor of Women's Studies, Dr. Bridget Pichel, says the fight continues today for a number of reasons.
Economically, women are at the bottom in Mississippi. We have the highest level of poverty among women in all 50 states, and women in Mississippi today at birth have the shortest life expectancy of any women in the United States. And that's very frightening. It's because they don't have access to good health care. They often are paid less for the same jobs that they're working for. And it's a difficult hole to try to get out of.
Ann Lee Fairley is a MUW student and a native of Mississippi. She says this study doesn't surprise her.
We have a nostalgia for the past. We believe that we have values, and these values are not necessarily values to other people, and they've just been raised that way by their parents or by their past relatives, their ancestors. We hold on to the past a lot. And I believe that's why we are the last state to ever change.
Mississippi ranks 50th in the category of women's economic and social well-being and 48th in women's health and safety. Pichel says there is one fundamental change that will help right away.
To get them a higher level of education. I think at MUW we are particularly successful at educating women. We graduate at a higher level, a much higher level than the other IHL institutions in the system. So what we're doing is we are giving Mississippi women a step up in economics and education and a better life.
Fairley says she received offers from out-of-state universities, but she felt it was her duty to stay here in the Magnolia State.
And so many people leave Mississippi, and those are the people that won't change. And I think with so many people leaving and not wanting to stay in the state is never going to change. I don't blame them at all, but I think that's why I didn't go to school somewhere else, because I knew that if I left, that would just be another voice who was against, the old values of the past.
Victoria, thank you. Alabama came in at number 49 in that same study.
Numerous thunderstorms and thousands of lightning strikes across the lower 48 right now. We're actually watching out for the potential development of some activity here in Oklahoma and Arkansas later tonight. That will sweep through here tomorrow with the front. Details on that are next.
Your first alert weather forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Tomorrow is Wednesday in Columbus, 68 degrees, very warm at 8 o'clock. A lot of cloud cover, a few showers, but nothing too terribly crazy at that hour, I think. As we get into your noon hour, your lunch hour, we should be back into the mid-70s. A good chance for showers and storms in the region. Some of those could be strong, possibly severe. Through mid-afternoon, those storms will be with us, or at least the threat thereof. By 4 o'clock, a lot of that should be moving away from our area. Temperatures could be cooling down behind the front, moving on through, and things will gradually improve as we get into the evening hours tomorrow. So a bit stormy for the first two-thirds of the day, and then the last third is looking okay. But out ahead of the front that's coming on in, we are in the mid-70s here in northeast Mississippi. You can see 75 in Tupelo. Down into the Columbus area, we're looking at some slightly warmer temperatures. Let's just advance that here with the old computer here. 76 degrees, and over into West Alabama as well, also into the mid-70s. So we're looking at some warm temperatures tomorrow. And let's talk about the storm threat right now. North of Memphis, northwest Tennessee, there are some strong storms. You can see the yellow outlined areas here. Those are tornado watch boxes. Those are well to our northwest right now. Look at these lines of storms ongoing here. And like I mentioned going to break, there could be some additional development down here in Oklahoma and Arkansas with the actual front that will sweep on through. The tornado threat for the rest of tonight most concentrated here from Missouri into southern Indiana. Now, as we get into tomorrow, it looks like our threat is really going to be more of a straight line wind event. Look at all of these storm reports we've had today. The red dots there, tornado reports, and a lot of hail reports here. Big time hail with some of the storms today. Temperatures very warm, 71 in Columbus, 72 in Little Rock still right now. Dew points well into the mid-60s. Extremely humid and warm out ahead of this front that is coming our way. So let's talk about the storm threat tomorrow, shall we? Let's do it. Wind damage the main threat. Maybe a split-up tornado or two. Also the chance for some hail. 10 o'clock in the morning in the west, maybe 3 or 4 in the east. So southerly breezes tonight, nice and warm. A few showers possible later tonight into tomorrow morning. But as we wake up for the commute, no major problems. Notice the front, though, right there. It starts to come on in after 10 o'clock in the morning, and we'll see some showers and storms along and ahead of that. And it looks like maybe as we get into the afternoon hours, some of these storms could blossom a little bit more just as the front is exiting our area. Let's hope for that. Maybe we can get lucky with this one. 70s tomorrow, a little bit cooler Thursday and Friday. Gorgeous weather for the weekend. Now, we could see a freeze Thursday night or Friday night, so winter's still with us, Tommy. But tomorrow, very warm and spring-like.
All right, Keith, thank you. We're looking at how some fraternity and sorority members stay active in the community long after graduation. That's next.
You're watching WCBI News at 10 with Tommy Lopez.
To another look tonight at Black Greek lettered organizations here to close out Black History Month. Being a member is a lifelong commitment. Members continue to stay active in their organization even beyond their college years. Our Quentin Smith joins us. He talked with members a part of alumni chapters. It's to explore the role Greek life plays in the Black community.
Tommy, community involvement is something Black Greek-lettered organizations pride themselves in. Once members graduate college, they then make the transition over into graduate chapters in an effort to give back to their communities. Now, tonight, in the final part of this series, I speak with both men and women who are still active in their organizations and helping to make a difference in their community 20-plus years after college.
Without us giving back, our communities cannot strive. They cannot thrive.
Black Greek-lettered organizations have always been a pillar in the African American community.
We are about helping the community, uplifting one another, and being busy, being the face of the African American people.
Our children are, they're in jeopardy. So now we have to come back and represent ourselves in a manner so that they can see that we're actually successful also, and our stories are not that different from their stories.
Continuing to give back and trying to make a difference in the community is a top priority for all 9 organizations. Michael Garrick and Sherelle Drake are both active members of Greek organizations that give back all over the Golden Triangle area.
We're all about community service. We've done ring the bell for Salvation Army. We try to do food drives for them, give back at Thanksgiving.
We are busy in the Boys and Girls Clubs. We have impact days. Here recently we participated in the Martin Luther King Day of Service, where we fed the community.
Once members graduate from college, they then become a part of a graduate chapter in an effort to stay active in their organization. And sometimes, if someone doesn't join an organization while being an undergrad, they can be initiated into a graduate chapter.
And once you transition into the graduate level, it gets even more intense because you have more things to juggle. You have family, you have jobs, careers, children.
Members say the standard is set high for each organization to set the right example and be positive role models and leaders in their communities. And even years down the line, members say Black Greek-lettered organizations will continue to be a strong and dominant force in the African American community.
No matter how much you give, it's never enough because there's always more work to be done.
There's always new challenges that comes up that we feel like, what role can we play in this particular challenge to make it a little bit better for someone else.
Now, all 9 of the predominantly Black organizations have active grad chapters right here in the Golden Triangle area.
Quentin, thank you. Ole Miss looks to make it 8 straight on the diamond tonight. We have a recap of their matchup against Memphis next in sports.
Here's WCBI Sports with Robbie Donahoe.
They're one of the best stories to begin the season in college baseball around the country. Ole Miss has started the 2017 campaign with 2 weekend sweeps against top 25 teams, but the always dreaded midweek game loomed today. The Rebels had a tough one against Memphis at Swayze Field. We start things off in the first inning, and there's New Hope's Will Golson. In the scoreless game, he's got runners in scoring position. Deep shot to center. That would score Tate Blackman. Ryan Olenek was doubled off at third, so the Rebels would lead 1-0 after one. In the second, Memphis takes a 3-1 lead. 2 on here for Greg Kessinger. Tomahawks it to left. Gray actually in this game was sick. That's a sick shot. That's a 3-run bomb, his first of his career. Rebels lead 4-3 after 2, but they were in trouble with the bases loaded in the fifth. Andy Pagnozzi, a big strikeout there to get out of the inning. Rebels are trailing, but 4 Ole Miss errors would cost Ole Miss late. Here's a grounder to Cole Zabowski. He misplays it, then the throw over to third gets away. Ole Miss would drop their first game of the year 9-6. They're back in action this weekend in the Shriners Classic in Houston, Texas. Speaking of Ole Miss, spring practice underway in Oxford today as the Rebels look to move past the NCAA's investigation into the school's football program. Many of the questions in Hugh Freese's spring presser were about the NCAA, and the head coach addressed how he's handling it personally.
That's the toughest part of this whole deal, really, is your integrity being questioned, and whether we like it or not, and whether it's true or not, public opinion forms some people's opinion, and your wife and your kids, man, they have to read all of that, and you know, some's true, some's not, but yet it forms the opinion, and so that's difficult. And I'd have to say, growing up in Tate County, you know, when you're dreaming about a job like this, and with the friends I had, and you know, Ole Miss being near to all of us, and man, one day dreaming, man, if I could ever coach there, that's like a dream. This certainly is not part of the dream.
At the hardwood, MSU without Quindary Weatherspoon tonight, facing a really tough South Carolina team on the road, but they look good the first half here. Mario Kegler has a 3 from the corner. That goes. A little bit later, Eli Wright, who actually played some really good minutes tonight, he's been on the bench for most of this season, but tonight they needed number 2 to drop some threes here. Bulldogs trailed 32-29 at the half. In the second half, Tyson Carter caught fire. Someone called the fire chief. God, the guy could not miss in the second half. Back-to-back threes in the span of 60 seconds. You see the score. MSU starting to make a rally here, and then passing out of a double team, tic-tac-toe to Eric Holman. It's a 1-point game. With 4 minutes to play, a hustle play off the rebound leads to another Tyson Carter 3. The Bulldogs lead with 4 minutes to go. But Carolina would end the game on a 13-5 run. MSU drops their 7th straight, their 6th loss by 7 points or less, 63-57. The Bulldogs close out the regular season Saturday at home versus LSU. Hey, speaking of Mississippi State, the women's basketball team had a couple postseason honors today. All-SEC first team went to Victoria Vivian. She was on that team. Morgan Williams was on the All-SEC second team. Your All-SEC defensive team had Dominic Dillingham on that squad. And your 6th woman of the year, how about Tierra McCowan? Big T has come off the bench, giving some big minutes for the Bulldogs when Chinwe Okorie has either been foul trouble or needed a little bit of a change in the post. So good going for Tierra McCowan. Congratulations to those Bulldogs. They'll be in action on Friday in the SEC women's basketball tournament against the winner of LSU and Ole Miss. Sticking with basketball, the state basketball tournament begins coming up tomorrow morning from Jackson as the MHSA basketball tournament continues on the playoffs, but now quarterfinal action beginning tomorrow morning. And yours truly getting up early in the morning to head down to Jackson. We'll start it off with 9 a.m. with Wheeler taking on Lee County. Then Ashland, West Lowndes, Holka, and Shannon all in action on Wednesday. All these are boys' games. We'll get some girls' games in on Thursday. Baldwin, Pine Grove, Okolona, and Amory are all playing. Now, just to let you know, the boys' games on these quarterfinal games are being played at Jackson State. The girls' games will be at Mississippi Coliseum. Friday, Ingomar girls, Oxford boys, and the East Webster and West Point girls are all playing. And on Saturday, big-time teams. New Site girls, Tupelo boys, Tupelo girls, Booneville girls, and the undefeated Starkville girls will all be in action in Jackson. We'll have all the highlights and have plenty of great stuff throughout the week here on WCBI Sports. That's it for sports. We'll get a last look at your forecast when we come back.
Lots of storms ongoing just to our north, northwest Tennessee, Arkansas, Missouri, Indiana, Illinois. Now, this will all stay away from us tonight, so you can go to bed, no problems whatsoever. But we will see some storms tomorrow from about mid-morning through about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Some of those could be strong, damaging wind gusts, the main threat around here. We'll keep you updated, though. Join Alex starting at 4:30 on Sunrise for the latest.
Yeah, just want to be careful and cognizant of those storms.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. Have a great night.